Win at Work and Life with Nikki Bush is the podcast where you and I explore what it means to win at both work and life. Today, you get to choose how to create a life of meaning and self-expression that includes both your work and life outside the office with your family. Please send through your comments, questions, and topic suggestions to info@nikkibush.com. Don't forget to share the Win at Work and Life podcast with your friends and colleagues to empower them to win at work and life too. Where do you find yourself right now in COVID-19? Do you feel like you're in limbo? Like you're kind of in a pregnant pause and going nowhere with no end in sight? Well, if you feel like this, you feel like everybody else right now. I said early on during COVID that we need to be preparing ourselves for a marathon, not a sprint. And this is exactly what we're experiencing right now. COVID is not an event. It is a process, and it's becoming a very, very long one. So I keep getting asked by individuals, by mums, by dads, by organizations and CEOs who are leading teams, what can we do to help support our teams through this long, indeterminate middle? I have some thoughts on the matter that I thought I would share with you today. And the first is not to fall into the trap that Christmas or New Year is going to signal the end of COVID-19. Far from it, in fact. I think that we are going to be in for months and months and months of more of the same. And this means we have to prepare our families and our teams mentally for the challenge that lies ahead. Going back to my analogy of running a marathon, think of a comrades marathon. Now we're running a COVID marathon. So how do we inspire and support our teams moving forward? Well, I think that we need to be starting our COVID marathon, the next 8 to 12 months of a COVID marathon now, around 1 November. This is the start of our next marathon. I'm concerned that if we build up to a crescendo of the end of 2020, that we are going to find our families and teams in a late January funk that will be deeper than we've ever seen before. And it will be more difficult for everybody to climb out of that deep, dark hole. So let's not even go there. Let's not even think about next year's a new year, things will be different, because I'm not sure that they are going to be, not for a very long time. So if I was running a team right now, I would be committing us to the next 8 to 12 months of a COVID marathon. And that means that you have to create lots and lots of short-term goals. You have to celebrate getting through the day. You have to celebrate getting through this week. And you have to celebrate getting to the end of each month. Depending on your team, your group, and what you do for a living, those targets are going to be very, very different. But we need lots of short-term targets so that we can rebuild our sense of competence and confidence that has been taken out at the knees through COVID. We need to take it one day at a time. If you were running a comrades marathon for the very first time, and gosh, I wish that I could be a runner. My physiology doesn't allow me. I have bad discs in my neck, bad discs in my back. So running is just contraindicated for me, let alone long distance running. But if you were, just think about it, metaphorically, to run a comrades marathon for the very first time. First up, you would go and buy yourself a good, decent pair of running shoes. Secondly, you would probably be doing park runs first. From park runs, you would graduate to short courses. You wouldn't go straight to running a marathon. Then you'd eventually graduate to half marathons, finally running marathons. So we need to build up our resilience, our fitness. We would go and learn about our physiology, nutrition, how to prepare our mind and our body for this marathon. And another point in terms of preparing ourselves and our teams for this long, indeterminate middle, is that we are seeing a shift for the first time in a very long time to personal leadership and taking personal responsibility for our lives. And I think this is a really good thing to come out of COVID. If you think about it, we've been relying on externals for so long, for validation, for acknowledgement, for entertainment, for motivation, for leadership. We've been looking outside of ourselves. Now we are having to look inside and rely on ourselves more. So a growth in personal leadership and self-awareness, I say, yes, bring it on. Another point is to not buy into mass hysteria. And I think that's where we are right now, that there is a sense of mass hysteria, of feeling out of control. And in order not to buy into that, we have to ensure that we limit our exposure to the news and social media. Very, very important. You know, this too shall pass. Nothing good or bad ever lasts forever. And the sun still rises every single day. So keep perspective at this time. It's important not to be sucked in to all the negativity. Then work on your triggers. What is being triggered by COVID for you right now? This is a journey inwards. Even if you're not an expressive, talking type of person, I firmly suggest to you that you find somebody to talk to, somebody to help you to work out what's going on in your internal world right now, what's being triggered, what old patterns are coming to the surface that you could be healing at this time. Make COVID work for you. And then look at what you have, not just at what you have lost. And I know many people have lost things over this time. In fact, we've all lost our freedom to choose and our freedom of movement, let alone other things. So I was reading about an inspirational story the other day of a B&B that went out of business just about during lockdown, and how the owners actually twigged that chief executives and high-level CEOs, COOs, CFOs were battling to work from home in uncontrolled conditions. And so they connected with, obviously, some high-end clients and said, we have rooms to offer. And they were snapped up in an instant, and they have these rooms being inhabited during the day by high-end executives who are now working in peace and quiet and have higher levels of productivity. So what are you doing to do things differently? What resources do you have? What skills do you have? Check your attitude out. What are your contacts like? And put them to good use for you right now. And then do regular self-reflection. This is one of the hallmarks of highly effective and successful people, and it's never too late to start. I'd like to suggest that you ask yourself 3 questions at the end of every single day. What worked for me today? What didn't work for me today? And what can I do differently? You know, you can grow during a crisis. If you are self-aware and if you are driven to investigate where you're at and where you could take yourself, you could be growing at 200% faster than normal. I can attest to that because I know how much I have grown since the traumatic death of my husband almost 3 years ago now. So I hope that these insights are going to empower you during this real pregnant pause. It's a real thing. And I hope that you are going to be able to build more personal resilience, to feel more connected, both to yourself and to other people. And I hope that I've given you some hooks to raise your levels of hope. So from me to you, with much love, and stay safe.